Welcome to another episode of Outside Shots. I am your host, Saul Bookman, live from LA, and that is Eddie Johnson, live from New Orleans.
Denver.
Are you still in Denver?
Yeah.
What happened? You guys didn't get out last night?
You know, we have private planes. We don't have to rush off anywhere.
Oh, my bad.
We don't have to hurry up and get out.
You don't have to do the 4:30 in the morning frantic rush to the airport sprint walk all the way to your terminal just to make sure you catch your flight.
No, we just, we get up, they come get our luggage. And, I got a big breakfast down there waiting on me when I'm done with you. You make me hungry. And then I'll saunter on down to the bus, get on the bus, get to the plane, get a little meal on the plane if I want it, and then just cruise on into Oklahoma City.
It must be nice. It must be nice to be Eddie Johnson, man. I swear.
Yeah, it's the life. It's the life, man. I've earned it. I've earned it, man.
You have earned it. You have earned it, and I'll tell you what. As we talk about earning things, we have earned the right to be hosted by or presented by the good folks at OG's, the best edible in the game. As usual, we'll get to them in a second. But Eddie, let's talk about the Suns. Last night, obviously, they beat the Denver Nuggets, and the Jekyll and Hyde season continues. You just never know what you're going to get from this team. They are now 7-7 against the top 4 teams in each conference, which tells you exactly what you think that they are right now. And I know Bradley Beal at halftime, ESPN was talking about, they interviewed him at halftime and they said, and he said, we got to stop playing around and we got to take these things a lot more serious and we got to get ready. We got to improve our seeding. He was very matter of fact, and it was pretty refreshing. And they had brought that up several times on the broadcast. I thought it was refreshing that he would point that out that we've been playing like trash and we got to play better, straight up. And the opportunity right here is in front of them. Eddie, sitting courtside, what was different between last night and then the game in San Antonio the other night?
Effort. I think effort, not just from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. See, the hardest part of this game is really the mental aspect of it. It's not the physical. I mean, NBA players are probably in the best shape. I'll say this. People always kick back on me, but, they're probably the most well-conditioned athletes on the face of the earth. And so it's never about that. It's just about effort mentally, like pushing yourself and putting yourself in the moment to know what you have to do. I was taught the word proactive early in my life, and I've lived by that. Before I do most things in my life, I close my eyes and I think about the repercussions of doing it, whether good or bad. And I think that's helped me. And I guess the reason I developed it was because growing up in the inner city, I had to always be conscious of where I was walking. I had to be conscious of who was walking behind me. I had to be conscious of what I said to people because they could have taken it the wrong way. And all of a sudden, I'm a casualty. I had to learn how to do that. And that transition over to sports. I'll sit in the locker room before games and I will close my eyes. And I used to do this every game I played. I started in high school. I would close my eyes and I would say, okay, Eddie, how are you going to feel if you don't hustle back on D and give up layups? What's going to happen? Is the coach going to take you out? Is he going to get on you? Okay, I don't want that to happen. Eddie, if I lose this game, how am I going to feel after? Well, I know how I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to not feel good about it. And I put myself there and I say, you know what? I don't want that. And then that would really push me in the game and remind me of what's going to happen if I don't do A, B, C, and D. And I don't know if a lot of guys do that, man. And what I'm leading to is, the Suns they drill San Antonio the first game. They come back, they hear that Wembanyama's not playing. and they just blew them out. Right there is that moment where you close your eyes and you say, okay, if I go out here and I go half-ass and I don't focus, this is what can happen. And guess what? That is travesty because we're trying to get out of the play-in. This is an opportunity to stay in the 6th spot. This is an opportunity to really get ahead of what we're going to face here in the next week and a half. The toughest schedule in the NBA. Like, that's what I would have done. And then I would have went out there with more urgency. The Suns in the first quarter against San Antonio, they didn't go out with urgency. And San Antonio got the lead. What else happened was Sohan got confidence. Vassell got confidence. Collins got confidence. And then all of a sudden, once they get confidence, because they are NBA players, it was hard to slow them down. And at the end, the very guy that I was pointing out during that telecast of the guy that we'd rather have take that shot, Sohan, knocked down a damn three. And you know why? Because he had built up so much confidence and we allowed him to get to where he was that he felt good about making it, and boom, you lose the game.
Yeah.
That is the psychological mentality that you have to develop playing that sport is very immense. And the Suns failed in that aspect against San Antonio. Reverse it. Last night, they did those things. They knew if they come out against Denver, they're getting blown out. They knew with that altitude, if they get behind, it's going to be tough to catch them because of that altitude. They knew these things, and they came out focused, and it turned into a win. And that's as simple as I can lay it out, man. Like, to me, that's the advantages that great players have over average players, is that they know how to break through and get through the negativity that could fall on them based on them not being prepared to play. And the Suns are going to have to do it, 9 more times now?
Yeah, they are.
And that's the way they have to play.
7 games. They could be 7 games behind the top spot in the West right now. Instead, they are 8, and they're sitting a half game behind the Dallas Mavericks. If they were in that 7th spot, or if they were 7 games back, they would have a really good opportunity here in the next couple of days to not only get to the 6th spot, but also or maintain the 6th spot, but also get to that 5 spot, because they got to play New Orleans. And that's the good thing about this, though, Eddie, is that every team that's ahead of them in the standings, they have an opportunity to play, except for Dallas, and so they can make up some ground here. But again, the thing that I don't like to do, Eddie, and I said this earlier this week, I've said it multiple times. One of my pet peeves is wasting my time. I do not like people wasting my time. And when I watch the Suns every now and then, I feel like I'm wasting my time because they're not taking these games seriously, and it irritates me as a fan. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm most disappointed in with this season. I get that you're going to have injuries and chemistry issues and all these other things that you got to try and put together. But when you combine all that, and then you combine it with the lack of effort at times that we've seen from this team, it just is a recipe for disaster at times. But you see what the potential is when they do put it all together. And I don't even think that they played particularly fantastic last night. I thought Kevin Durant was amazing, but everybody else they were okay. And, Devin certainly could have played better offensively. I thought Brad did everything he could, even though he's got an injured hand. I thought overall they played solid, but they didn't play phenomenal, and they didn't have to. That's my point, is like they're good enough to beat these teams if they just have the effort to beat these teams. But when they don't show up with the effort, they just fall apart, man.
Yeah, and that's, for me, calling games, to be quite honest, that's the hardest thing for me to grasp onto. Like, I'm 64, hopefully, God willing, be 65 here in a month. And,
I heard a party was coming. I don't know.
No party. The hardest, no, this party was at 60. I don't do halfway parties. But maybe I should, 65.
You got to celebrate every year right now, brother.
Well, yeah, without a doubt. No, without a doubt. You're head on that. But the thing Saul, I can't wrap my brain around, and this is the hardest part for me calling games. Look, I was above average basketball player. Okay, that's where I'll put it. Okay, early in my career, was I borderline star? Yeah, I think I was. I was rated one of the top small forwards. After my first 5 or 6 years, but I was a way above average basketball player, and I knew that. It wasn't something that I walked around and said I should be more. I knew I lacked some athletic categories that didn't allow me to get to the level of some of the stars back in that day, okay, that I played. And I was okay with that. But the one thing that I always did, man, and I'm telling you, no coach could ever say to me or say, Eddie, you didn't work hard. Like they could never say that to me. They could never say I'm not in shape. They could never say that I was committed to winning, that I wasn't. They could not say that about me because I carried it on my sleeve. And you talk to any teammate I played with, they will tell you that losses hurt me. I don't care if it was the first game of the year or the last game. I just couldn't stand it. And so for me, when I call games, it's hard for me sometimes because, and it's not just our team, it's just in general, the reaction to losses, and it's more prevalent to me after games when I'm seeing guys out there hugging on each other after a freaking game. I can't stand it. Call me a non-sportsman or whatever you want. I don't give a rat's you know what. Like you have no idea what you have to put into a game to be able to compete. And I can't go up and hug and shake hands right away with a guy that just kicked my ass. I can't. I just can't. I don't do it in golf. I don't do it in cards. You know it. I don't. You don't see
Yeah.
me taking my damn hat off after a golf round. I don't do it. Now, when we get in there in the restaurant and sit down, I'll be back to myself. But I have to process what just happened. That's just been me my entire life, and I'm not the only one. And sometimes it bothers me that guys don't process it and enjoy the opportunities that they have. And you should never lose a game from lack of concentration or lack of effort. You just should not lose a game because they were just better than you that night. But those other things you can't. And those are the things that really get on me. And last night, our team stepped on the floor. And you know what? Yeah, you're right. Devin didn't have a great game. Bradley Beal didn't have a great game. But you know what? They had great effort. And a lot of times, great effort will overcome you not being productive.
Yeah.
Okay, because those things aren't measured. Like making sure that you're playing good D, making sure that you're being unselfish, making sure you're in the right place at the right time. All those things matter more than you scoring 30 points
Yes.
because you can still win the game if you don't score 30. And last night was a prime example. We had one guy going, KD. Everybody else was just playing. Thad Young comes off the bench, plays well. Grayson plays well. Eric Gordon plays well. Uh, Royce O'Neal, I mean, didn't score, but guess what? On the glass, rebounding. Like, that's how you win, man. And the bottom line is, doesn't matter what you do personally. It's just what you do in terms of effort and connectivity to help your team win the game despite it all. And we saw that last night. And they can do that every night consistently if they put their mind to
Yeah. Absolutely.
it.
As a reminder, folks, in the chat, if you're going to be an asshole, you're going to get banned. Somebody already get kicked out. Don't be that guy. All right. Eddie, we talked about, in recent weeks, we've talked about turnovers and how egregious they've been. And last night they had 17 again. They're, I think, 28th in the league in terms of turnovers per game. One of the things that happened this week, and I got to give my guy Gerald Bourguet a shout out. I don't know if you had an opportunity to read his article, but he went through every single game and categorized every single turnover, how it happened, from either a bad pass to an
Does
offensive
he
foul.
does he have a life?
I mean, it took him. So I talked
Didn't
to
he
him.
just get married?
He did just get married.
Don't you got some work to do at home? I mean, you're on your honeymoon, man. You got some work to do at home, dude. Like
I
that's the
mean,
best. Hey, that's the best time. Trust me. Like right after you get married. Oh, honey, what you doing? Oh, honey, come on in here, honey. Come on, honey. Honey, I love you, honey. Oh, go, honey, but I'm not going to work today. Come on in here. I mean, doesn't he realize that? I mean, get man, come on, man.
yeah. I mean,
Doesn't he know it's going to wane off as the years go?
my man's got to get his priorities in line, is what he's saying. but I thought it was a fantastic article. It was one of my favorite articles I think he's ever written. I told him that because he broke down everything. And one of the things that was really kind of surprising to me was we all know Kevin Durant is a phenomenal superstar, and he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. And he's going to go down as one of the top 10 players in NBA history when it's all said and done, without a doubt. He maybe even top 5. But he leads the team in turnovers. I think it was something like 271 on the season. And a lot of those, surprisingly enough, are just things that are controllable, right? Like he would go up for a jump shot and the ball just slips out of his hands kind of thing, right? Last night, you're reminded that, and not that you needed to be reminded, but you're reminded of the greatness of KD, because I felt like Kevin Durant could do whatever he wanted on that court last night at any point in time, and the Nuggets couldn't do anything about it.
Zero.
And it was vintage KD. And it sounds weird to say like I was so impressed with KD last night because he's had 28, 30, 40-point games before, but not every 28 or 30-point game is the same. And last night, I just felt like he was in total control of himself on both ends of the court, had 5 blocks. He was phenomenal on both sides. When KD plays like that, that is when you start to see the potential of this team go to another level, because if he can play like that consistently and be as efficient as KD is, and Devin Booker can get back on track after last night and do the same thing, this team is damn near unbeatable.
Look, he's an all-time great. And you play a game against Denver nowadays, everybody's saying, looking at Jokic. We're playing against Jokic. They play against, no, Jokic is not where KD is right now. Like, if Jokic, God forbid, doesn't happen, if his career is cut short, he's not going to measure up to KD. Like, it's the longevity and it's what the work you put in as well. And so when you look at the billboard, when you see the Suns come to town and it's KD, Jokic, people want to hurry up and tend to say, oh, okay, Jokic is the marquee. No, he's not. Not yet. Not yet. Not when KD's on the floor. He's not. And the people that the purists of basketball, they know it. Like that crowd was reacting to KD last night like crazy. So they know it.
He had a lot of fans there last night.
And he knows it. Like, he knows it. And, yeah, that was probably one of his best games of the year all around, right? The defensive aspect of it, everything. Yeah, I mean, he's turned the ball over a lot this year because he's been put in a situation to have to do a lot because we don't have a prototypical point guard. And I think because of that, it's almost like, your main teacher doesn't show up to school and the substitute takes over. Come on, man. We acted up, man. We did things out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we like, it's a different animal, right? And I think that's what's happened this year with the Suns in general is that the 3 top guys, because we don't have that prototypical point guard, have, seized the opportunity to show everybody that they can play point. And in doing that, they've realized that stepping out of that job description at the high level like they have, it can create problems. And I think that's been the case, without a doubt, with these guys. It's gotten better as the years gone on. Bradley Beal handles the ball now more than Devin and KD in regards to bringing the ball up. I think that's helped.
Yes.
And it'll get better. It'll get better. Shout out to Bradley, who played with a sprained finger, man. most of these guys would be in the hospital right now. I mean, that's how soft they are. Bradley is old school, okay? And he just gave up of himself last night to be on the floor. And I made note last night, Saul, and you brought it up, like some of the turnovers with KD as the ball slips out of his hand. And I know that might drive people crazy, but I can't be a hypocrite because if you look back at my career, I had a number of turnovers like that where the ball slips out of my hand. Now, I'll just maybe use baseball as an analogy and even golf. When you swing the baseball bat or you hit a golf club, the club is not tight in your hand, it's loose.
It's supposed to be.
And it's supposed to be. And the tighter it is, the more the really it's not going to really react like you want it to. Like you see baseball players, the bat slips out of their hand because they're barely holding the bat. It's a comfort where they just have control of it. But you're taught not to squeeze it because when you squeeze it, it develops tension. And tension, like especially with a golf club, you squeeze it and you hit it, ball doesn't go as far. When it's kind of like, when it's not as tight in your hand and you hit the ball, it takes off because you're allowing the club to do the work. Same way with a basketball. When you go up to shoot, you can't squeeze it. Guys that squeeze the ball and they shoot, they have no touch at all. There's tension in their shot. There's tension in the ball. The ball comes off really strong. And that's why he loses the ball because when he goes up with it, the ball is literally light in his hand. And that's how you're supposed to, play basketball. So those turnovers I get. And so I wanted to break that down for people because I know the ball's slipping out of his hand. Well, it's the reason why. Okay, you don't squeeze the basketball. But yeah, I mean his turnovers has to continue to go down. I think that's part of him. He and Devin. And if it does, then the fourth quarter, I think execution to go up. And I think that's part of the process.
What did you think about Thad Young last night? I'm, watching Thad last night. I will say this: I don't know, man. Sometimes I just get so frustrated why some of these guys they come out, they ball out, and they hadn't gotten an opportunity beforehand, right? And he's been here for about 15 games now, and he's barely gotten any run. And then you see the way he played last night. He gave that bench some bounce. He gave that team some energy. He got one rebound that I had thought he had no chance at. He just came out.
Took it from Jokic.
I mean, phenomenal. And when you see guys perform like that, you're a little stunned that they didn't get an opportunity beforehand. And the same thing could be applied to Bol as well at various times this season.
He wasn't playing much before the Suns picked him up, and I don't know if he was in top-notch shape. Okay. And only he can answer that. But I would just surmise, if you're not playing NBA basketball, you're not in shape. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care. You working out, running sprints. I mean, when I mean in shape, I'm not saying in general shape. He's in general great shape, okay? But I'm talking about NBA shape is a different animal. It's another level, truly is. And I don't know if he was there. And we can see it early when they did pick him up where he was missing layups, where his timing wasn't there, right? Yeah. And so now it seems like he's gotten his legs up under him. And he looked like the Thad Young that I know. And I was telling people during the telecast last night, don't be shocked by how he gets his shot off. That's his game. He's got floaters all around the paint. And he's a very good passer. He catches it in traffic. He made some really good passes, man, in that first half. It's that part of his game that's good, and he's strong as an ox, and he can defend in the paint. He did a very good job on Jokic in the paint. And so, yeah, that's going to get better. And I'm sure now his minutes are going to maybe ramp up just based on his production, especially with Nurkic dealing with the sprained ankle. We don't know if he'll go tomorrow. He's day-to-day. But I think Thad is more than apt now, especially to go against Oklahoma City, which isn't a big team. Yeah. So I would surmise that maybe Nurkic probably won't play again tomorrow, but I think Thad Young is a good fit to go against them based on the lack of size that they have, and he should be able to do well.
A tremendous opportunity still left for the Suns. 9 games left, all against premier teams in the league. Most of them almost all of them are from Eastern Conference or Western Conference. So, I again,
strength of schedule. Strength of schedule is a bunch of junk. Look, that's for the analytical water boys, man. Like, it just drives me nuts. Like last night tells you strength of schedule. How did that work for Orlando last night? Strength of schedule. How did that work for Oklahoma City last night? Houston went in there and got them. How did that work, people? How did strength of schedule work the other night when the Lakers beat Milwaukee without LeBron? Strength of schedule is just you looking at it and say, there's no way they can win because you're not part of it. Like the players don't feel that way. And this schedule for the Suns is the best thing to happen to them because it's going to make them concentrate. They can't relax like they did against San Antonio. They can't relax like they did against Houston early in the year. They can't let their guard down against Portland. You want me to name the losses they've had against weak teams because they weren't connected psychologically and mentally? It won't happen now. They will come prepared to play every game because they know they're going to get embarrassed if they don't. And it'll bring the best out of them. So I'm looking forward to this last stretch. I think, they got 4 straight at home after this trip. They have an opportunity to knock that strength of schedule back in people's faces. And I hope it happens.
I hope it gives them confidence heading into the playoffs because I think at various times this season I would surmise that they probably lacked a little bit of confidence just because they've been struggling and they couldn't figure out why some things were happening the way they were. But I think now with an opportunity to beat some of the quote unquote better teams in the league, I think that they have a tremendous opportunity to build some confidence, some swag as they go into the playoffs, and hopefully they avoid the play-in. I think they have a tremendous opportunity to avoid the play-in still. They're still alive for that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. As always, we're brought to you by the good old folks at OG's, ogsbrands.com. Go check it out so you can find the closest dispensary to you. OG's Brands has all the great edibles for you, sativas, the indicas, you name it, they have it. Go check them out, ogsbrands.com, and also follow them on social media, on Instagram and on Twitter at OG's Brands, and also Four Peaks. I mean, we revere Four Peaks out here, the best craft brew in the state. Go check them out, Four Peaks Brew on social media. Go check out their website, Four Peaks at fourpeaksbrew.com, and also go buy their juicy Bad Birdie Ale. I had that at our tea party on Friday. It was fantastic. Sorry. And you can't go wrong. You can get it at Fry's. You can get it at most grocery stores. And you can also get it on tap at the actual brewery. Their nice 8th Street pub. All the phenomenal food. You can't miss it. And as always, with both Four Peaks and OGs, you must be over the age of 21 to enjoy.
You been drinking last night?
No, man.
You're losing your voice. I mean, what's going on? I mean,
I don't know, man.
You in LA? What's going on?
Maybe sometimes nerves get the best of me, man. And
I understand that. I mean, you're around me. I understand that. You get a little nervous.
It's not really that. I mean, I assume you got a few butterflies in your stomach because tonight, you're Illinois. You're fighting Illini are got to take on a pretty good Iowa State team in the tournament, and my U of A Wildcats got to take on a pretty good Clemson team. And so, I hope we are both in the Elite Eight because I'd love to see a rematch of Arizona versus Illinois at some point because I want some damn revenge from 2005. So, that's just.
Hey, we spotted you all about 15-point lead. I mean, it's not our fault. You started choking.
Why you got to bring up bullshit?
Well, I'm just saying it's not our fault. But yeah, I am excited about tonight. Iowa State's it's a good defensive team.
Real good team.
Yeah, but we're the best offensive team in college basketball. So we'll
It's my favorite. It's my favorite matchup of the Sweet 16 is that game. I'm excited to watch that game.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Plus, my Cubs open up the season tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be real busy. I'm going to fly into Oklahoma City, get to my room, get my little snacks, and
what kind of snacks? What are EJ's snacks?
Well, I don't eat bad. So, but I might, I like to have the scoops, man. Like the scoops with the, Yeah,
The
little
scoops?
Tostitos, man.
Oh,
I get the
oh,
little
okay,
scoop.
Totitos. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, the scoops, man. Those are popular, man. I hate to go to the store, man. They don't have the scoops, man. At the grocery store, they know I'm ticked off. I think they set a couple of bags aside for EJ. So I'm serious. I get mad. I'm like a roving maniac. Like, where all the scoops at around here? One time, this lady she had the last bag in her cart. She gave them to me. I like, thank you, man.
Oh man, shout out to
Yeah,
her, whoever that is.
yeah, that was nice of her.
Well, hey,
But
we talked about the men's tournament in Illinois and Arizona, but also on the women's side, Iowa has got to take on. Oh, fuck, I forgot who they were taking on. Oh, Colorado.
yeah,
They got to play Colorado tonight.
oh,
Caitlin
dude.
Clark it was in the news yesterday because it leaked out that Ice Cube had offered her a spot in the Big Three, and it's a $5 million deal for 10 games, which would put her above and beyond the highest paid women's basketball player in the world. And she would still be able to concurrently play in the WNBA. And the reasoning behind it was, as Ice Cube said, listen, the women's game has grown crazy, and the opportunity for women to excel. And he named the two women coaches, Lisa Leslie being one of them, who have succeeded in the league. And why not give her the opportunity to play and not have to go overseas? And obviously, based on what happened last year with Brittany Griner being stuck in Russia and all that stuff, a lot of these female players have to go overseas to make up compensation for their livelihood, because not all of them make high dollar figures in the WNBA. And when I say high dollar figures, it's not even that much. We're not talking about millions. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if that. And not every player gets to that 6-figure range either. And I know we all sit there and we think professional athletes make tons of money. That's not necessarily the case. And so the opportunity for Caitlin Clark to join the Big Three and participate at that amount of money, she hasn't made a decision. Obviously, she's in the middle of the tournament. She's not going to until afterwards, I'm sure. But I think it's a tremendous offer. Xavier B is in the chat saying it was a fake offer. It's just free promotion. I mean, you can think whatever you want. I don't really care. Like, it's out there. It's in the public sphere. If Caitlin Clark came out nationally and said, I'm gonna join the Big Three, you think Ice Cube is going to revoke the offer and be like, oh, we were just kidding? That's not going to happen. So, hey, listen, an offer is an offer. I'm intrigued by this.
I'm all for female empowerment. You know it. I mean, you've attended my yearly function that I have, helping hands for single moms, raised by a single mom. I think women are the strongest creatures on the face of the earth. I've raised millions of dollars to send single moms to college. Uh, I will always help women in any capacity I can. Uh, I was raised by women. I didn't have a dad in my life. I am so happy that they have been able to grow in society. People don't even remember, a lot of people didn't like history, but at one point in time in this country, women couldn't vote either. Okay. And women have always been looked down on, all those things. So hear me. So you don't dislike me about what I'm getting ready to say. Uh, did Floyd Mayweather move up to try to fight a freaking heavyweight?
No,
What would have happened?
he would have got destroyed.
No matter how talented Floyd Mayweather is, and he's one of the greatest pound for pound fighters in the history of boxing. In the history of boxing, people, I want you to hear this. He would have gotten destroyed. They would have had to carry him out of the ring. So the guy that you saw that was invincible, you put him in there with heavyweights, he would have gotten destroyed. She should not go to the Big Three. I like Ice Cube. I see what he's doing. She would get destroyed. If those guys played against her like they play against somebody else. And that would probably tick her off if she senses that those guys aren't playing physical against her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You step in that arena, Caitlin. You're not a female anymore. Okay. You're competing against me, and it's about my job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to destroy your ass. I'm going to respect you. Okay. But now, now here we go. Okay. So are you ready for that? Okay. I'm going to talk smack to you. I'm going to knock your ass on the ground. Dare you to want to fight? I'm going to go after your heart. That's what I'm going to do. Are you ready for that? Against dudes that's going to outweigh you by 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You drive into the hoop, okay, and it could be a game-winning shot, and somebody 250 pounds drill you to the floor. You ready for that? Because he's trying to make his money too. And you're going to get $5 million? And they not getting near that? Don't do it. Just don't do it. This is not the Harlem Globetrotters. This is not a respect, comedic type of atmosphere. This is grown man basketball. And guys that play in the NBA, hungry to make money, hungry to win, you're going to step on the floor against them. Be careful. That's all I would tell her. She's a tremendous, tremendous female basketball player. Okay? I watch every game she plays. Her unselfishness, the way she moves, how she reads things, she is going to be one of the greatest WNBA players. But don't get too full and get lured in, okay, by the money, but you're going to go into an environment where it's a different environment, okay? And if everybody can take the gloves off and go play, you're going to struggle.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're going to look bad, okay? I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it, man. That is asking for too much. It really is. The great Ann Myers, I think she's the only female, the Hall of Fame Ann Myers, she's the only female that went to an NBA training camp. And so what Caitlin should do is call Ann Myers, and see, call, Cheryl Swoop. She used to play, play ball. The females would play ball with the guys and pick up ball and all that. But that's not the arena. The arena is when the fans are in the stands and the embarrassment factor is there, and you're out there and you think that you're going to embarrass that guy. No.
Yeah.
I would be careful, man.
I want to address a couple things in the chat. All right. First, Parrot Steven says, why not offer to Wilson or Stewart? It's other women that's played in the W that are just as great. 1,000,000% they're just as great. But guys, I think you're overlooking one big thing about this. Caitlin Clark is the biggest women's basketball name right now as we speak.
Without a doubt.
It's not even close. Like, I don't care about
Without
Asian
a doubt.
I don't care about Sabrina Ionescu. It doesn't matter.
Uno.
She is number one right now. Like, all the eyes are on her. She's got the attention of the world on her. Like, if you look at last year's numbers alone from the tournament, hell, you can even look at some of the Iowa regular season games this year. The numbers have been astronomical. So that's why. Like, that's the number one reason why. It's not just about her ability. It's also because of her notoriety. That's number one. Number two, another one says, why start with her, though? Why not pick a W? Oh, we already mentioned that. I agree with you, Eddie. The only thing I would push back on a little bit is, how this goes. Some people won't believe it till they see it. And
at her expense, which
and
hurt her reputation.
It would. I agree with the reasoning that you have 1,000,000%. But at the same time, I think that should she want to do it, even if it doesn't end up being great, I think people need to see it happen just so they can believe it happened. Because listen, you never know. You never know. I mean, I've played.
Oh,
I
know. I'll bet every penny I got. Every penny I got, she will fail. If those guys are allowed to play physical and play like they would, she's going to fail.
Yeah.
At playing against these grown, strong ass, desperate men that's playing that 3-on-3, man.
No, I get it.
Hold it. Here. Let me give another example. I wouldn't have played in that sucker at 50. You get my point? Like, I wouldn't have done it. Like, you have to know your battles, man. Like, and you have to. There's some guys that's played in 3-on-3 and they only played a short period of time because they figure out they couldn't do it. Like, it's a lot of young guys. It's not a bunch of old guys playing 3-on-3. I think people misconstrue that. These are young dudes. These are dudes in their 30s. These are dudes that, could still play in the NBA, man. Like, these dudes are still, like, ready for that craft. Like, man, I'm telling you, man, it's a different animal. It truly is. And so for me, if they're allowed to play and be themselves, I can't see it. I'm sorry, I just can't, man. It just,
I like I said, it's not necessarily about whether she can or not. It's about
chasing that money.
People seeing.
No. Chasing that money. She wouldn't play it for 50,000.
Oh, for sure. No, okay. I get it.
So it's the carrot of getting that money, and those dudes are going to be envious because she's getting $5 million, okay, and she's going into a untamed environment of 3-on-3. It ain't the NBA. Like, it's not like they're going to get fined hundreds of thousands of dollars for fighting. You get it? I mean, it's like it's like going to the courts, going to the street ball. It's going out there playing. It's like it's just a different animal, man. That's all I'm saying. People need to calm down.
Yeah.
Like, let the greatness stay with her where she is. Why do people always want to transition somebody to something else because they're great here and they want to move up, right? Like, I got a laugh this week, when Michael Beasley said that LeBron was the GOAT, right? And then Nate Robinson, got on Michael Beasley. And Michael Beasley said, hey, man, I thought you was my friend, and, I didn't say anything when you was a plank, when he got his butt knocked out in the boxing ring, like, laying there like I thought he was dead. He laying there flat on his face. Because he in an environment where he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's just my point, man. Like, be careful, man. Like, where you think you want to go. And that's what I would hope for her, because her star is shining bright, man.
It is.
Like, she is it right now. And I would just hate to see that be damaged trying to jump to something that I don't know if she is really prepared for and to understand what she's going to have to deal with if she gets into that environment. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree. Somebody else in the chat, I couldn't find the comment, but he said, well, why would she make more money than other players in that league? And again, I'm going to go back to this. Guys, celebrity has its benefits. And when you are as high profile as a player like Caitlin Clark, listen, man, ain't nobody buying tickets to go see Big Baby Davis for $5 million.
I'll pay to see him because I want to see him. I want to see him jiggle when he runs. Like, see them man boobs.
Outside of that, ain't nobody trying to pay to play his actual play. Caitlin Clark's a big name. Another good comment. You throw me off all the time, man. Lucas Lafonte says, agreed, Saul. Caitlin is most popular female athlete at the moment. Wish she was coming to the Mercury. I'll settle for Beckers. She's good also. Is very true. And then the other point is that it's not about her skill set. It's about the physicality.
And I agree.
1,000,000%. Yeah,
Because
I
she
mean,
want to go out there and shoot jumpers with everybody, and that's fine.
because
But
we
it's
saw that. We saw that with Sabrina versus Steph. Like, she's just as good a shooter, and there you go. But
I can step on the court today at 64. I go in the gym and shoot every now and then. I don't want to get too far behind. But I can go in the gym and I can shoot, and my shot has not changed. I still can drain it from everywhere consistently. Is that my shot in my age has not changed. I don't miss. Okay. So I can step on an NBA floor and I can shoot around with NBA players, and you wouldn't know the difference. And most of them I kick their ass shooting. Okay. I said most. I didn't say all. All right. I kick their ass shooting. But now let's get to running up and down the court and let's play. They will destroy my ass. Okay. I mean, they had to carry me off on a stretcher. Okay. I can't play anymore. I just can't.
yeah,
I can't handle the physicality. I can't handle nothing. Even though I'm strong, but it's a different kind of strength. Okay. I can't. So you just know your limits, man.
yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. We want to push people past their limits because we want to see. But I'm here to protect people. Like, I'm here to tell the honest truth. And to me, I don't think she should do it.
All right. Cycle Blue with a super chat. What I'm looking forward to is Tim Legler turning into the Crypt Keeper because he has to keep watching the Suns now. First WrestleMania for me next week, where it's fixed on purpose. Cycle Blue, faithful follower from the Virginia, D.C. area. I don't know if you've caught legs of late, Eddie, but he has not been kind to the Suns, and rightfully so. When you lose to the Spurs, you deserve to get dog walked. Let's just be honest about that, especially without Victor Wembanyama. And so it is what it is there. All right. And before we wrap up, Eddie, I wanted to give you the forum to be able to bring up and talk about whatever is on your mind in this last segment. Is there anything that you'd like to touch on today before we go?
Man, it's Draymond, man. It bothers me. You know what?
Draymond.
Out of everything he's done, I was watching before our game. That really bothered me. You know why it bothered me? Because of the reaction of Steph. Like, people don't understand, man. Like, Steph is probably a billionaire, close to a billionaire. Like, he doesn't need basketball. Basketball needs him. Not many players put themselves in that position. Like, he can go off and retire right now. He's got so many different interests. He's got companies. He's got so many things going on in his life that he can transition and he can be doing things that he loves right away, where a lot of athletes can't. A lot of athletes have to, maybe go get jobs or, go to internships or try to get somebody to partner with them. Like, Steph is his own entity. And so when you see his reaction last night with Draymond and getting kicked out of a game 4 minutes into the game, and you see tears flowing from one of the greatest players on the face of this planet ever, and he is emotionally bawling. Now think about that, people. Like, he's emotionally bawling because this guy got kicked out because his whole goal right now is to do something special. They did something a couple of years ago. Nobody think they'd win a championship. And so in his mind right now, Steph Curry is thinking, if we get in the play-in, if we can hold off the Houston Rockets, who's fast approaching, won 10 in a row and playing out of their mind, then if we can navigate that and I can get to a finals, do you know what that will do in regards to the Golden State Warriors legacy and mine and everybody else's? That's what's on his mind right now. And Draymond, 4 minutes into the game, why are you so upset 4 minutes into a game, man? The game just started. You can't hold your anger toward an official and then get the tech, knowing now you can't get another, but you still mouthing. And then this dude gets on his seat. Then after the game, he's waiting in the line and, giving Steph high five. Like, I would have gone back to the hotel. I would have been so embarrassed. He doesn't care, man. And that's the part that drives me nuts. It's like he gets on his podcast, which is a very good podcast. If he just did his podcast and he didn't play basketball, you would think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
But he gets on his podcast and he's so humble and he breaks things down and he's so this and he's so that. But then he gets on the floor and he's total opposite. It's just a total hypocritical personality. Like, I'm for the team. I'm for this. I'm for that. And then he throws the team under the bus, man.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, they got to win every game. Houston is on their butt, and he just gets kicked out. Kuminga's not even playing.
Yeah.
He's out. So you know they need you.
Yeah.
Man, look, I'm over him, man. He's the biggest hypocrite going, and I'm really more over him, man, because of the reaction of Steph. You know, it's just like he's one of my favorite players, man. People, he's so respectable. I've been knowing this kid since 7 years old, man. And like, it's hard for me to always cheer for them because they're always against our team.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you just have to admire him, and he doesn't deserve that, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve Draymond. Draymond has helped him win titles, without a doubt. But he doesn't deserve him. If it wasn't for Steph, Draymond could be out of the league. Who knows?
Yeah.
He could have been in the G League. Who knows? Like, we've seen him by himself without Steph and Clay. Triple single. Okay? 4 or 5 points a game. So, I mean, like, I just don't understand it, man. That yesterday bothered me more than anything that he's done. Just based on the reaction of Steph. Man, they got me.
So this morning, Jay Williams talked about that he allegedly has people calling him, asking why, is Steph really a leader if he can't keep Draymond in check? I just want to kind of go off on this for a second. First of all, Draymond Green is a grown ass man, and no other man should be in control of somebody else's emotions and keeping them in check. That's not Steph Curry's responsibility to keep him in check. Steph Curry's responsibility is to play at the highest level he can, provide the leadership that he can, but is not to control other people's actions so much so that they are, on the court, they're not themselves, right? Draymond Green is who he is. He's an asshole. He's an absolute asshole. And he is a hypocrite, and he does things on his own accord. Nobody's going to stop him. Michael Jordan could be on that team, Magic, LeBron. It doesn't matter. Draymond's going to be who Draymond is. That's just how it is. And for Jay Williams to come out and say, and even throw that out there, first of all, it's just a travesty.
First of all, didn't even list the people.
No.
Like, so like,
it's
come
bullshit.
on, man. When you say something like that and you don't even say the people, then people are not going to believe you anyway. It's like you're looking for clickbait, man. And first he set it up like, well, I know Steph and I've had conversations. Well, dude, if you know him, why would you put that out there?
Right.
If those dudes that said that, why don't you let them say it?
Yep.
Why are you saying it?
Yes.
Like, why are you saying it? Let them say it. If you have a relationship with Steph, why would you say that? Like, I actually believe Steph does lead. He leads in his way.
Yes.
His way is professionalism. His way is respecting others. That's leading. Everybody doesn't have to be loud and jumping on a guy and doing all of that, right? I didn't lead like that, and I consider myself a leader on every team I was on. I would never embarrass somebody out publicly. I would never embarrass them in the press. I would embarrass them behind the scenes. You can talk to any guys that I played with. They'll tell you. I would say stuff to them. They probably want to kick my butt, but it was always behind the scenes. It was never in front of anybody. So I don't want to hear that. Like that was clickbait. He's sitting there for Stephen A. And he needs to feel like he's a clone a little bit. But Stephen A. will tell the name. He will tell somebody. And I believe Stephen A. if he does get those, because he's put in the work to be able to get those relationships.
Yeah.
But Jay Williams has not proven that to anybody.
No, I 1,000,000%. I concur. I absolutely agree with you. Strikeout in the chat says, I'm going to add a little bit to what Strikeout said. Draymond's not a clown. He's the entire damn circus. So, I mean, it's true. Like it's all about Draymond Green in those moments, the attention on him. And again,
and here's
I think
the worst part.
well, real quick, EJ, I do think that Draymond comes into these games and something had to have triggered him before he comes into these games to make him feel the way he is so aggressively. And if you read his lips, which I'm very good at, and he's walking off the court, the things that he's saying to the ref, if you said that on the street, we're going to fight, like straight up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's saying that because he knows they're not going to do anything about it outside of just kick him out of the game.
He's gotten away with it, but he's gotten away with saying it forever, and he didn't get kicked out.
Yeah.
See, so that's part of it as well. But he is a dude, man, that he doesn't care. It doesn't bother him. And he's going to always continue to do what he's doing. And it's really, I think he's gone. I think they're over him. I do. I think this is last year. And it's teams that want him. But here's the crazy part about this whole thing with him. I had friends around the league. Like, I had very good friends. Like, Mike Woodson is one of my best friends in the world, okay? It's like my brother. We were on separate teams. Nobody knew past what our relationship was. Our families would travel in the off season. Like, we get trailer homes and travel, drive around. And but most people didn't know that. I didn't want people to know that because he's an opponent. I didn't want them to know that we were that close. Like LaSalle Thompson, Reggie Theus, Otis Thorpe, all these guys that I grew up as a young man playing ball early on, like, people didn't know that we were friends, like, that to that level. This dude chasing LeBron around, and LeBron is a competitor of his.
Wait, stop for a second. Give me a thumbs up real quick. Just put your hand up and give me a thumbs up. Yeah. What's going on your screen?
I don't know what.
Every time you do a thumbs up, this little bubble pops up. It's right.
Oh, you know what? That's weird. I don't know why. Good. There you go. Oh, where is it? I guess it's a ghost saying, Eddie, you're right on. But
it doesn't happen for me, I don't think. No, it doesn't happen for me. So
yeah, I mean, his friendship with LeBron is really outwardly creepy in regards to being a competitor. You get it? And I don't know, man. It's just like you're battling them right now, man, for a play-in position. You get kicked out. They're playing Memphis tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird, man. Yeah. It makes me think he's got his titles, and it's like if he doesn't get another one, he's cool. And those are the most dangerous people to play with. I'm telling you, they're the most dangerous. Is the ones that already have a title, because you have to push them because they already have it, and you have to show them that you really want one. And that's the beauty of it, and they're in a position to demand that. Like, KD's in a position to demand that from Devin. Like, you really want one? Okay. You got to push me. You got to let me know, and I think that's how it should be. And I think that's how Draymond rolls, man. Like, if I don't think you're going to win it, man, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do podcasts. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I believe that's how he thinks.
One last thing about Steph Curry getting emotional last night. I saw this earlier with Caleb Williams when he was with USC, and they lost to Washington and basically dashed any hopes of a college football playoff. And he got emotional, and he went to the sideline, and he went into the stands, and he hugged his mom, and you can see that he was crying. And so many people were dogging him out for it because they thought that he was soft, and they thought,
Now, who was this? Who's this?
Caleb Williams, quarterback for USC. That's going to probably be the number one pick for your Chicago Bears. And then you see Steph Curry cry last night. And I just want to say this. If you've never competed and been so competitive to the point where you just cannot stand to lose, and you are that emotional about it, then you've never really competed at a high level, just straight up. Like I remember my JV year in high school, and I missed a buzzer beater to beat our rival Corona del Sol. And my dad came in the locker room, and it was the first time where he didn't really critique me. He just came in and he put his arm around me, and I just lost it. Because I wanted to win so bad against that team, right? And like if you've never felt that, then you'll never understand it. And so it's easy to sit there and be a couch potato or water boy and point fingers and be like, oh, I would never. Well, yeah, you would never, because you've never experienced that kind of desire to win at a high level.
Because you're a quitter. You quit early. Like, you didn't want to do it. You didn't want you didn't want it. You didn't want the smoke. You didn't want it. Like, but even in general, though, if you're a man and you say you don't cry, then I think you need to go get some help. I cry all the time. Like, certain songs come on, I'll cry. It brings back memories. If I think about my two brothers that's passed, boom, right away. I don't care where I am. When I just think about my mom, who's still living, but when I just think about her, tears will come, especially if it's a song on it. Like, crying is good for you, people.
Yeah.
It's not bad for you. It's good for you. Like, people think it's a sign of weakness. No, it's not. It's a sign of strength, because you're not really hiding what you really feel inside, and you don't want to bring it out. Everybody cries. You probably just don't produce tears because you don't want to, but you're crying inside. Like, come on. If you don't have passion for life and for what you do, then you
Well, what did Jim Valvano say? You should do 3 things every day. You should reflect in thought, you should laugh, and you should cry. And if you've done all 3, that's a good day. That's a really good day. And I firmly believe that. And listen, man, I think in this stigma of not being able to be emotional, and not emotional in an angry kind of way, but emotional and showing that you have a spot within you that is vulnerable, and somehow that should be shamed, is just ridiculous. And
Curry knows his career is coming to an end.
Yeah.
He's on the other side. Like, he's on the other side. Like, LeBron is on the other side. Like, they know the end is near. And when you have loved something your entire life, and you have put forth every ounce of energy to have success in it, man, like, that part right there, I am telling you, I cried like a baby my last year in the league. I mean, I was the most depressed person because I knew it was over. And that is not a good place to be. It is not. And I don't hate that I went through it. I'm glad that I went through it, but I was also blessed and fortunate to play to 40 years old, and most guys don't. And so, but man, please, it's whatever you love. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people out there, man, they don't have a competitive bone in their body, and they don't get that part of it. They don't.
Mark in the chat says, I'm rehabbing my shoulder. The moment I get back on my road bike will be emotional. It's not just winning. It's being able to do what you do, what you know you do best. And I agree. Like, listen, we all have a passion for something. And when it gets taken away, whether it be short-term or long-term, like, it's emotional. And so being able to be able to thrive in life and understand your emotions and, control them, but also be vulnerable when that opportunity calls, then, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And, hey, I think that was a good conversation, Eddie. I appreciate you sharing that. I think the perspective on mental health and emotions as men sometimes can get overlooked, and it can be, pushed away. And that's when bad things happen. Like, you gotta acknowledge yourself and your emotions and your mental well-being. So for that, see, potpourri there. We got Draymond, and we talked about emotions and mental health. Look at all that.
My thumb is not doing it now.
You got to hold it still. There it is. For Eddie Johnson, Jump Shot 8. I'm Saul Book, and we appreciate y'all. Until next time.